In this lesson, I want us to check the concept of linear function or the straight line function. Okay, so the general formula for this function is given by y is equals to mx plus c. Okay, whereby the m represents the gradient. Our m represents the gradient, and the c value, we know that this is the constant, but in this case it represents the y intercept. Okay, so how do we find the gradient? We know that when we calculate the gradient in analytical geometry, the gradient of a slope, we know that the formula say y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so by definition, this is how we calculate the gradient. Okay, and then when we calculate the gradient, sometimes we get a positive answer, sometimes we get a negative answer. Okay, sometimes we get a positive gradient, then sometimes we get a negative gradient. Okay, by the values, if you get a positive answer, you know that this is a positive gradient. Okay, so on the graph, when you want to see a positive gradient, you start from the left, you start observing from the left, okay, of your paper. And then if the graph from the left, when you observe it from the left towards the right, it's like this, then it means this is a positive gradient. You observe the motion of the graph from the left, or of the slope from the left towards the right. And then if you see something like this, it means it's increasing, and it means this is a positive gradient. Okay, and also when you want to see the negative gradient, you observe from the left towards the right, and then when you see this kind of motion of the graph, then you know this is a negative gradient. Okay, so the positive gradient is more like a tick, and then this one, you can see the negative gradient is descending. Okay, so how do we determine the formula for a function? Okay, so we must first calculate the gradient, and also find the constant. Okay, so suppose we are given this slope here, and we're having point A, whereby its coordinates are 1 is to negative 1, and then we're also given point B, whereby the coordinates are 2 is to 0. Okay, they want you to determine the general formula for this straight line. Okay, so we know that we must first find the gradient of the slope, because the formula says y is equals to mx plus c. Okay, so it means finding the gradient, we say gradient of AB is equals to y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Okay, so AB, A, we're going to name it 1, and then B, it's for the 2's that are here. Okay, so y2, it means we're going to B, and then the y value here, it's 0. Okay, and then the y1, the value here, it's negative 1, and then we're going to say minus into minus 1, all divided by, then the x2 here, it's 2, then minus 1. Okay, then we get positive 1 divided by 1. Then we know that the gradient it's 1. Okay, so we substitute the gradient into the equation here. So it means we're having y is equals to 1x plus c, or we can say this is y is equals to x plus c. Okay, so to obtain the c value, or the constant, okay, we substitute any point given on the graph. Okay, so in this case, we can take point A, you write it down, negative 1, and then it means this is your x value, this is your y value. Where you see y, we're going to substitute by negative 1. So it means we're going to have negative 1 is equals to the x value we put 1, okay, plus c. And then to make c the subject of the formula, we take this one to the other side, it changes sign, then it means we're going to have 1, negative 1 minus 1, which is equals to c. Then our c value becomes negative 2. Then therefore, our equation says y is equals to x minus 2. So this is the equation for this slope here, okay, or for this line. So this is y is equals to x minus 2. All right, so this is how we get the equation for this straight line graph. Okay, so I think we should do an example. All right, here is our example. We're given that f of x is equals to 4x plus 1, and they want us to sketch the graph of f of x. So we know that when we see f of x is just simply y, so this f of x is just the notation of how we notate or we represent functions. Okay, so there are steps to follow when we want to sketch a graph. Okay, so the first thing we should do is to find or to determine the intercept. And we know when we find the x-intercept, we must let the y value to be equals to 0. And then the second one is to find the y-intercept by letting the x value to be equals to 0. And then the third thing is that you're going to plot. You're going to plot the points. Okay, and then after plotting the points, you draw a straight line through them. Okay, so now we need to sketch this. Okay, so we must follow this procedure here. So to find the x-intercept, okay, we're looking for the x-intercept. Okay, the x-intercept, we must let our y value to be equals to 0. Okay, so our function was f of x is equals to 4x plus 1. We know that this is the same as y is equals to 4x plus 1. So x-intercept, we let y be equals to 0. So it means we're going to have 0 is equals to 4x plus 1. And then we solve for x. Okay, so we take this one to the other side, it becomes negative 1, which is equals to 4x. And then in order to make x the subject of the formula, we divide both sides by 4. And then now our x value becomes negative 1 over 4. Okay, so this is the x value. Okay, so we write it in coordinate form. We know that in coordinate form it has to be x is to y. Okay, so our x value is negative 1 over 4. Then our y value is 0. Okay, and then now we move to the y-intercept. Okay, the y-intercept, we let what? We let our x value to be equals to 0. So it means y is equals to 4x plus 1. Then we let x to be 0. Then y is equals to 4 into 0 plus 1. And then now we know that our y value is 1. Okay, we also write this in coordinates form. And then our x value in this case is 0. Then our y value that we obtained is 1. Okay, so now we have found our x-intercept and y-intercept. We just need to plot the points. Okay, and when they say you must sketch, they don't mean you must draw according to scale. You just sketch and then name your points on that Cartesian plane. Okay, so this is our Cartesian plane. Okay, this is our Cartesian plane. This is the x-axis, this is the y-axis. Okay, so let's start with the y-intercept here. The y-intercept, it says when x is 0, y is 1. We know that every x value here on this line is 0. Then our y value is 1. We can put it here. Okay, so this is the point 0 is to 1, and then this one says negative 1 over 4 is to 0. So x is negative on this side, and then this is negative 1 over 4. It's 0.25, then it's somewhere around here. Okay, so this is the point negative 1 over 4 is to 0. And then we plotted our points, and then we draw a straight line between these points. Okay, then this is your function. So this is the function of f of x is equals to 4x plus 1. And then this way you are done with your sketching. Okay, I hope it makes sense. I hope you're enjoying this. Okay.